Hello everybody, welcome back. So following on from our last video, we're down into the little nitty gritty jobs now. The new chain is turned up, but I'm going to hang fire for fitting that because I don't have a 14 tooth front sprocket, which I thought I did. It's been used on all my other bikes, so I've just ordered another one of the 14. This is a 15, which will be a spare, so the chain will go in the next one. I've got the seal for the big gearbox output shaft, so we'll be doing that today. We'll also get on the rear sets that have arrived, and then as you can just see here, I'm just starting to soak at the moment the brake calipers. What I'm going to do is remove the standard lines because we've got to go to a race line fit out, get these stripped and cleaned and put back together so that we know that they're in a good state, and I'll just get them loosely mounted on the bike for now. And then I'm a bit undecided as to whether to go for fitting a hugger like this. So for now I'm going to stick the hugger and the rear brake line on to the master cylinder and the rear caliper and leave this on. I've got a chain guard on order. I haven't decided how to run the bike at the moment. And then hopefully stick on the rear wheel as well today so that we've got that on. Okay. So first things first, I'm just going to leave these to keep soaking. We shall stick in the gearbox output shaft seal. Okay, let's get on with doing that. Okay, so got an old glove over the shaft just so it doesn't catch and nick it at all, and then just push that in. And it should be a relatively straightforward fit. So we've now got the gearbox sprocket seal in, as we can see there, all nicely cleaned up and bedded in nice and evenly around, so that's ready to have the sprocket fitted. What we're going to do now is fit the rear sets. So fitting the rear sets, pretty straightforward. 2 mounting bolts. These are an aftermarket set from Racing Products with a reverse linkage on the left hand side of the bike for the gear lever, so I can use it in race shift, and then just a standard fitment there. These bolts get done up to 31 Newton meters. So let's get on the right hand side, which is the easy one first. All I need to do, bit of Loctite onto the thread, stick that through into the spacer, bolt it onto the bike, torque it down to 31 Newton meters. So let's get on with that now. Okay, so that's both rear sets on. What I've done is I've left this the adjusting nuts and that loose on here so that I can get a better position for the gear lever once I can sit on the bike. But that's it in its race shift, so it's down for up and up to go down. So one up and 5 down in classic race shift, which is just effectively reverse the standard lever. So in its normal setting this would be pointing downwards. Because I want to reverse the gear shift, so I've got it in race shift, I've stuck it up and it's got plenty of clearance here to work properly. It does make it a bit awkward for removing the gearbox sprocket, so it usually means that you just have to pop this off so you've got clear unfettered access for when you want to do that. But these levers are actually pretty nice, pretty robust, and quite affordable as well from a Ducati sense. So a whole set including the rod and everything for £95 sterling. So, and you can sell all the parts separately as spares, so quite good from a racing perspective. Okay, onto the calipers. So I'm going to remove the caliper bolts, banjo bolts, so I can get the lines off, because I don't need these. Reason for that is that on the road bike there's a T-piece that goes just above the mudguard. Under ACU racing rules, I can have a split line set up like this, but this would have to be above the lower yoke, so this is non-compliant, so I can't use this as on the race bike. So I'm going to remove those lines, get all the old brake fluid out into this little tray. Been soaking the brake dust, so hopefully it's nice and soft now, and we can scrub that and get rid of that. And then I've got some nice hot soapy water just to give it a good rinse off, and then we'll blow hopefully the calipers out a little bit later and just remove those and give those a good clean. I'm going to pump the lever out as far as I can before I actually disconnect the line, so I've got the pistons out as far as they will currently go, and that will just make them a little bit easier to take out when I split the calipers apart. Okay, so let's get on with cleaning these things. Okay, you would have seen that I had two bolts that rounded off, so I've had to drill them off. So effectively I've drilled the end of the head off so that it would just pop out. Just think a little bit of galvanic action, because actually once the head was out it turned quite easily. Unfortunately there was so much corrosion on there it just spun. So we're going to get these cleaned up still, but I'm going to have to get a new set of bolts to put the calipers together. You can see how dirty they are. The previous owner, as I said I think in a previous video, had the bike sat outside. Also looks from the state of the calipers that these have never been serviced, so fair amount of work to get these cleaned and usable, or reliable I should say. I mean they'll be used, but we want them to function perfectly, so let's just crack on with cleaning them then. Okay, so scrubbed these all, got rid of the worst of the brake dust. You can see on the main calipers there's a bit of staining from how bad they were. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out each of the pistons, just give them a gentle scrub with some Scotch-Brite just to get any loose brake dust off on them. Make sure the seating where the seal is clean. It was a low mileage bike but just not very well looked after, so as you can see the pistons look in quite good condition. So I'm just going to gently pull those out and then just make sure everything's good in there. Blow everything out of an airline to get rid of the water, and then leave them to dry, because I need, as we saw earlier, 3 new bolts, having had to pull them out, plus some obviously some brake pads. We need some new ones of those. And I figured that, I mean, this was the rear caliper, I mean it was just sea solid with rust, so I'm going to get new bolts, to caliper pinch bolts, to put them all together. The important thing to remember is keep them in the pairs that they are, because they're matched casing. So everything else has come up okay. We've got you know, all of the brake dust off of all the pins and everything, so not too bad on that front. So let's pop these pistons out, clean inside there. We'll lubricate up the seals with some rubber grease, and then I'll just leave them to dry whilst I wait for the new pinch bolts to come through. Okay, so these have all now been cleaned out inside. You get like a residue build up over time if the fluid's not changed often enough, a little bit like a sort of gel. So I've blown through all the ways and they're all clear. You can see in there as well, same again, nice and clear, no dirt. And then the pistons have come up okay as well, so no major issues with the pistons. So I'm just going to get these ready to go back in their respective calipers now. Just going to use a little bit of red rubber grease. Just push them in. You don't want masses, just a light touch, so that I'm trying to keep it out of the chamber. It's just so that it means that that can push in. Not too much. Ooh, not too much. And the reason why I just want to pull this back out, you want them to be in a semi out state, so that when we put brake fluid in, it can get to the back of the pistons. So as you can see, hardly any grease in there at all. It's just enough so that you can push the piston in properly, like that. See? Okay, so that's the calipers all taken apart and properly serviced, so all of the pistons are free to move in and out. I know the seals are in good condition in there, so I don't need to replace them. You know, I didn't use any abrasive chemicals. All I effectively used to clean it is just hot soapy water, as hot as I could stand with my hands. And then at the very last minute, just sort of used a alloy wheel cleaner just to try and get some of the last sort of bits and pieces off. So as you can see, it's come up quite nicely. I'm going to order the pinch bolts for all of this, so it's going to delay us sort of finishing this video, but that's all ready to go back together. So for the next video, what I'm hoping we will have is a 42 tooth rear sprocket to go on here. We will have a 14 tooth rear sprocket to go on there, so we can fit the chain. I'll order the pinch bolts for the calipers, so hopefully they'll be there as well, so we can put these together, get them mounted to the bike. That will allow me to mount the hugger. As I said earlier, I still don't know if I want to use the hugger or not, but it will just help us get to a finished state. And as a quick update, I've got a delivery date for the line, so we can finally connect up the oil cooler to the engine, so we finish the oil circuit, and I'll stick the fan on as well. Okay, once again, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, chuck us a like. Any questions or comments, stick them down below and I'll endeavour to answer them. And if you're not a subscriber, would really welcome you to the channel. There's plenty more content to come. We've got 2 tester Stretta engines to put together for a friend of mine. So a 749 and a 998 in the box up here. So plenty more work to come. So hopefully you'll join the channel and watch out for the more content coming. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.